January 29th, 1945. Holzheim, Belgium. 2:47 in the afternoon. First Sergeant Leonard Funk rounds the corner of a snow-covered farmhouse and his heart stops. 90 German soldiers, staring directly at him. Half are armed. The other half are grabbing rifles from a pile in the snow. 4 American soldiers kneel with hands behind their heads, execution style. These Germans? They were prisoners 20 minutes ago. 80 men captured by Funk's company, guarded by just 4 Americans. Now they're free, armed, and organizing to slaughter Company C from behind. A German officer steps forward, shoves an MP-40 submachine gun hard into Funk's stomach, screams something in German, veins bulging, face blood red. Funk doesn't speak German, neither do his men. The officer screams again, louder, angrier. Leonard Funk looks at the 90 Germans, looks at his 4 captured soldiers, looks at the cold steel pressed against his gut, and starts laughing. What happens in the next 60 seconds will defy every law of warfare. 21 Germans will die, the rest will throw down their weapons and beg for mercy, and Leonard Funk will earn the Medal of Honor for the most insane 60 seconds in World War II history. All because he couldn't stop laughing. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr., 5'5", 140 pounds, a former store clerk from Pennsylvania. Nobody would look at him and think warrior. They'd be dead wrong. Born in 1916 in a steel town outside Pittsburgh, Funk grew up during the Great Depression. Jobs were scarce. College was a dream. By the time war erupted across Europe, he was 24 years old, working dead-end jobs, taking care of his younger brother. June 1941. Congress extends the draft. Funk's number comes up. The Army looks at his small frame and thinks desk duty. Funk volunteers for the paratroopers. In 1941, jumping out of aircraft into enemy territory is considered borderline suicidal. The training breaks half the candidates. But Funk earns his wings. Gets assigned to the 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 82nd Airborne Division. By D-Day, he's a squad leader. By the Battle of the Bulge, he's the man everyone follows into hell. June 6, 1944. Normandy. Funk jumps at 400 feet too low for safety. German flak tears through the darkness. He lands 40 miles from his drop zone. Sprains his ankle on impact. For 10 days, he leads 18 lost paratroopers through German-held France. 40 miles of enemy territory. He insists on being point man despite his injury. Every single man survives. They award him the Silver Star. September 1944. Holland. Operation Market Garden. Funk notices 3 German anti-aircraft guns shredding incoming Allied gliders. 20 Germans manning the position. Funk has 3 men. He assaults anyway, kills all 20, silences the guns, saves hundreds of lives. They give him the Distinguished Service Cross, 1 step below the Medal of Honor. December 1944. The Battle of the Bulge erupts. Hitler throws everything into one last desperate offensive. 400,000 Germans crash through the Ardennes forest. Then comes Malmedy, December 17th. SS troops capture 113 American soldiers, herd them into a field, and execute them. Machine guns, pistols, 84 Americans murdered in the snow, shot like animals. When Funk hears about Malmedy, something inside him hardens like frozen steel. He makes a decision. He will never surrender to the Germans. Ever. That decision will save his life. January 29, 1945. Company C receives orders to capture Holzheim village. They're undermanned. The executive officer is dead. Funk becomes acting XO. He looks at his depleted roster, walks to headquarters, points at the clerks, the cooks, the supply men who've never fired a shot in combat. You're infantry now. Grab your weapons. They march 15 miles through waist-deep snow in a blizzard. German artillery explodes around them. Funk leads from the front. They hit Holzheim hard. Clear 15 houses. Capture 30 Germans without losing a single man. Another unit captures 50 more on the village outskirts. 80 prisoners total. They corral them in a farmhouse yard. Funk surveys his exhausted company. Germans are still fighting in other parts of town. He can only spare 4 men to guard the prisoners. "Keep them here," he tells the guards. "We'll send reinforcements." He heads back into the battle. While Funk is clearing houses on the other side of Holzheim, a German patrol approaches the farmhouse. 10 men, maybe 20, wearing white winter camouflage. In the blizzard, they look almost identical to American troops. The 4 guards don't realize the danger until it's too late. The Germans overwhelm them, disarm them, force them to their knees. Then they free the prisoners. 90 German soldiers. They grab weapons from the pile. An officer takes command. He knows exactly what to do. Attack Company C from the rear while they're scattered and vulnerable. It'll be a massacre. That's when Leonard Funk walks around the corner. He's come to check on the prisoners. Routine. Make sure everything's secure. He rounds the corner expecting to see his 4 guards standing watch. Instead, he sees 90 armed Germans organizing an ambush. The German officer spots him instantly. The sergeant's stripes on his sleeve mark him as a leader, a prize. The officer strides forward, shoves his MP-40 submachine gun into Funk's stomach, screams a command. "Surrender! Drop your weapon!" Except Funk doesn't speak German. He has no idea what this man is screaming about. The officer screams again, louder, his face turns crimson, veins bulge in his forehead. Funk looks around, 90 Germans, half-armed, his 4 men on their knees in the snow, hands behind their heads. The mathematics are impossible. There is no scenario where he survives this. The sensible thing is to surrender, drop his Thompson, raise his hands, become a prisoner. But Funk remembers Malmedy. 84 Americans murdered in a field. He'd made a decision. He would never surrender. So instead of complying, Leonard Funk does something inexplicable. He starts laughing. Nobody knows exactly why. Maybe it's a tactic, a deliberate move to confuse the enemy. Maybe it's stress, the human brain short-circuiting when faced with certain death. Maybe it's genuine amusement at the absurdity, a German officer screaming in a language Funk can't understand, expecting obedience. Whatever the reason, the effect is devastating. The German officer screams louder. Funk laughs harder. He bends over, shoulders shaking. Some of the German soldiers start laughing too. The tension becomes surreal. Their officer is purple with rage, and this American won't stop cackling. The officer doesn't know what to do. Prisoners don't act like this. They beg, they plead, they comply. They don't stand there laughing with a gun in their stomach. For a few critical seconds, the German is completely thrown off, and Leonard Funk uses those seconds. Still appearing to laugh, Funk slowly reaches for his Thompson submachine gun slung over his shoulder. The German officer watches. Good. The American is finally surrendering his weapon. Funk's hand closes around the grip. He begins to unsling it, slowly, carefully. The German relaxes slightly. Then Funk moves. In one motion, faster than thought, he swings the Thompson down, brings the muzzle into line, and squeezes the trigger. The M101 Thompson fires 45 caliber rounds at 600 rounds per minute. At point-blank range, each bullet hits like a sledgehammer. The first burst catches the German officer in the chest. 30 rounds in 3 seconds. The officer is dead before he hits the ground. Funk doesn't stop. Can't stop. The moment he started shooting, he committed to killing everyone or dying himself. There's no middle ground. He pivots, still firing. The Thompson sprays lead across the nearest Germans. Men scream. Men fall. Blood spatters the white snow. Brass casings tumble through the frozen air, steaming. The magazine runs dry. 30 rounds gone. This is the critical moment. A Thompson takes 2 seconds to reload. 2 seconds is forever in a firefight. 2 seconds is enough for 90 Germans to kill 1 American. Funk yanks the empty magazine out, slams a fresh one in, racks the bolt, and keeps shooting. The whole sequence takes less than a heartbeat. Pure muscle memory. At the same time, he's screaming at his men, "Pick up their weapons! Pick up their weapons!" The 4 guards scramble for the rifles the dead Germans dropped. Seconds ago, they were prisoners. Now they're fighting for their lives. The Germans are in complete chaos. Their officer is dead. The American who was laughing is now killing them. Nobody gave orders for this. Nobody knows what to do. Some shoot back. Bullets crack past Funk's head. One round kills the soldier standing beside him. Funk keeps firing, moving, killing. His guards have weapons now. They're shooting too. The Germans are caught in a crossfire they never expected. 60 seconds. That's all it takes. 21 German soldiers lie dead in the blood-stained snow. 24 more are wounded, crying, bleeding out. The rest, more than 40 men, have thrown down their weapons and raised their hands high. The prisoners are prisoners again. Leonard Funk stands in the middle of the carnage, smoke rising from his Thompson, surrounded by bodies. His chest heaves, his hands shake from adrenaline. He looks at his 4 guards, now armed and alive because of what just happened. "That," he says quietly, "was the stupidest thing I've ever seen." Company C secures Holzheim. The German survivors are marched to the rear under heavy guard this time. Funk reports the incident to his commanding officer. Just another firefight. Just another day in the war. But the story spreads like wildfire through the regiment, through the division, through the entire 82nd Airborne. The sergeant who laughed at 90 Germans and killed 21 of them with a Tommy gun in 60 seconds. When the Medal of Honor recommendation reaches Washington, nobody questions it. September 5, 1945, the White House. President Harry Truman places the Medal of Honor around Leonard Funk's neck. "I would rather have this medal," Truman says, "than be President of the United States." Leonard Funk is the most decorated paratrooper of World War II. Medal of Honor, Distinguished Service Cross, Silver Star, 3 Purple Hearts, plus decorations from France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. 5'5", 140 pounds, a former store clerk who became a legend. The war ends. Funk goes home. He doesn't write books, doesn't do speaking tours, doesn't cash in on his fame. He goes back to Pennsylvania and gets a job with the Veterans Administration. For 27 years, he sits at a desk helping other veterans navigate paperwork, process disability claims, cut through bureaucratic red tape. The same quiet, unglamorous work he did before the war. His Medal of Honor hangs in a case somewhere. He never talks about it. When people ask about Holzheim, about the laughing, about the 90 Germans, he shrugs. "Did what I had to do." That's it. That's all he ever says. November 20th, 1992. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. dies of cancer at age 76. They bury him at Arlington National Cemetery among the heroes of every American war. A fitness center at Fort Bragg bears his name, a highway in Pennsylvania, a post office. But most people have never heard of Leonard Funk. They know Audie Murphy. They know Alvin York. They don't know the short, quiet paratrooper who laughed at 90 Germans and killed 21 of them in less than a minute. Here's what his story tells us. War doesn't favor the big or the strong or the reckless. War favors the ones who keep thinking when everyone else has stopped. At Holzheim, Leonard Funk had every reason to surrender. The math was impossible. 90% against 1. A gun in his stomach. His men already captured. But Funk wasn't thinking about the math. He was thinking about Malmedy. About 84 Americans murdered in a field. About what the Germans did to prisoners. And he was thinking about his men, the 4 guards on their knees, the soldiers scattered across the village who would be slaughtered if these Germans escaped. So he laughed. And while the German officer was confused, while everyone was off balance, Leonard Funk made his move. 60 seconds later, he was standing in a field of bodies, alive when he should have been dead. Because courage isn't about size or strength or training. Courage is what you do when there's a gun in your stomach and 90 men want you dead. Courage is laughing in the face of certain death, and then pulling the trigger.